Hi, and welcome to Mel's Yarniverse. If you're like me, you're constantly trolling through YouTube and Instagram looking for crochet inspiration. So I thought I'd put together a quick video of some of the projects that I've been working on recently. Projects like this hexagon cardigan, this shawl, an amigurumi turtle, these Spider-Man beanies, and this daisy granny square bag. Hopefully some of these ideas give you a little bit of inspiration. So let's get started. So this first project is the Such Simple Shawl by Wilma Westenberg. I found this shawl on her website Wilmade, so that's WILMADE.com. And I believe she also has it posted up on Ravelry as well. It's essentially perfect for any beginners. It's basically just double crochet and some chains as well. And that's pretty much repeated. It's basically a 4-row repeat pattern, which is fantastic for somebody who's crocheted for a very long time and just needs something to zone out to while they're watching TV, or for a beginner that's just learning how to double crochet and wanting that practice of that repetitiveness of repeating the double crochets all the way across. But it's working up beautifully. I'm really loving how this has come out. So far I'm only up to row 25. I've got a bit of a ways to go just yet, but this yarn in particular, the Modavira, I'm using the Modavira Bellbird Wool Blend, which is 70% wool and 30% soybean. The colours are just gorgeous. Hopefully you can see that on camera. Hopefully it's showing up as well as it is in person. I'm using sorry, it's still connected over here. Using my 5mm clover for this. If you want to see my review on that clover hook, by all means check it out. I'm going to put it up here. But yeah, this is working up beautifully with this clover. It's just, being a wool blend, it can be a little bit catchy and a little bit scratchy, but the clover is just gliding straight through it, which is fantastic. So I'm really loving that. But the shawl itself is just a great zone out sort of project. So if you had a big day at work and you need something to distract you or take your mind off it, then this is definitely a fantastic pattern for that. As I said, this is a free pattern, and there's also a tutorial up on both the website and here on YouTube, so go check it out. So this next project was inspired by a Facebook page actually. It's a Facebook group called Let's Crochet a Hexagon Sweater. And after seeing all the amazing photos on there of all the beautiful projects that people were making, I just had to go out and make one. So I jumped on YouTube and had a good look around, and I found an amazing tutorial by a person called Craft and a Cuppa. I watched a couple of her different tutorials and found the perfect one that talks you basically through the whole process. So right from the very beginning, from your magic circle, all the way through to the end, including the ribbing. So there's a couple of different options that she goes through. For me, I chose the front post, back post ribbing here on the cuffs and all the way around. So I've done that for my collar and around here, just around the edging. So I think that works really well. That came up beautifully. It's quite comfortable too, actually. I know sometimes ribbing can be a little tight or too loose and baggy, but this just sits perfectly across my wrist. So really happy with that. Again, this is a perfect project for somebody who just wants to veg out a little bit, or someone, again, who's just learning, because it consists mainly of the granny stitch and granny clusters. You're working 3 double crochets in each cluster. So it's fantastic for putting on your favorite movie, just zoning out with a cuppa and crocheting away to your heart's content. This is the perfect way to learn. So as I'm going through this tutorial, I've picked up so many tips and so much information that I feel really confident going into another one, that there are changes that I would make that I'd be much more happy with. But as I said, for a first project, I absolutely love the way this turned out. It is super comfortable, and I'm probably going to live in this at least until I make my next one. So this next project is a daisy granny square handbag that I put together. Essentially, it's just 5 daisy granny squares, all whip stitched together, and It's all joined up with just some half double crochet stitches and some single crochets along the top there to finish off the handle with a slip stitch across the top just to lock it in nice and firmly. Essentially, I tried to write a pattern for this because I've had a couple of people ask me about this bag in particular, and I really struggled to explain where the hook needs to come in and out of the pattern, so to follow it around was really confusing. And I confused myself, so I've just put that pattern to the side. But if you're interested, let me know and I can have another crack at it and see if I can get that out to you. Again, it's very easy for a beginner to put this together. It's just a daisy granny square, which you'll find plenty of tutorials on YouTube for. If you'd like to see me make one, let me know in the comments below and I'll definitely put one together for you. It's just all whip stitched around to form that little bucket. I'll put some pictures up on screen here of the photos that I took while I was making it. And then again, just finished off with some half double crochet and some single crochet. So there's nothing in this that would be really too difficult for a beginner to learn. And I would be happy to make a video of me actually putting one of these together if you'd be interested in seeing that. What do you think? Did I do okay? This next project is an amigurumi. It's actually the first one I've made with plush yarn. I bought a whole stack of new polyester yarn that was on sale at Aldi, actually. So if you'd like to watch my review on that, that's up on YouTube as well, so go and check that out. I absolutely loved making this turtle. I decided to go and look for a tutorial. Again, I've made amigurumi in the past, but they were all made with acrylic. So I was really curious to see what the difference would be in working with polyester yarn. So far, the only difference I can really see is that with acrylic, you need to keep your stitches quite tight. So your tension needs to be quite tight, otherwise you get gaps in between the stitches and you can see the stuffing poke through the acrylic. Whereas the polyester is a little bit more forgiving with that. So as long as you're not leaving huge gaps anywhere, you don't see the stuffing come through. And because the polyester is a lot thicker and fluffier, it covers up quite a few mistakes, which is really forgiving, which is great. I found a tutorial by Crochet by Jenna. She's on Instagram and YouTube and pretty much everywhere. And I decided that I'd give one of these turtles a go. Didn't have any real issues while making it. The tutorial was fantastic and she does a great job of talking you through each section. The only trouble I really had was sewing the head onto the body. The fins attach in through, you basically make some holes here for the fins to slide in, and then you can join it and sew it in the middle of the body. So once you stuff it, you don't see all the sewing, which is fantastic. But for me, joining the head was a bit of an issue, just mainly because I'm not great at sewing. So I can crochet, but as soon as I get to the sewing part, that's where I start to struggle. I know I'm not alone in that, but I'm hoping the more I make of these, the better I'll get at it and it won't be such a terrifying chore. But at this stage, I'm pretty happy with him. I mean, it's my first one with polyester, so I'm hoping that I'll only get better from here. And he's got such a sweet little face. Look at that, he's gorgeous. So yeah, it's a great project. Again, for a beginner, you're only using single crochet all the way through. You're not having to worry about really difficult stitches. It's more about your tension with your hook, working a little bit loosely, which is difficult for me because I have a really tight tension most of the time. So learning to give myself a bit more space in between stitches and not pulling the yarn quite so tight was something new for me. But I think he came out pretty well. He's pretty cute. So I would definitely recommend the tutorial by Crochet by Jenna. She does a great job of talking you through every step in the process, and when you get to the end, you're pretty happy with the result. So these Spider-Man beanies are a great project. I made quite a few last Christmas for my son and my nephew, and they both loved them so much. Essentially, it's a basic beanie, which you can then embroider the different spider web onto it. It does leave some stitches in the back, so it looks a little messy from the back. But to compensate for that, I've started lining mine with polar fleece, and that makes them very, very warm. So I just hand stitch in the polar fleece and line that, so that gets rid of the lines on the inside, and it keeps the beanies really nice and warm. Because it's a basic beanie that you start with, you can make them for any size. So this one's for a child between 3 and 4, and the rest are teen and adult sizes. You can see this Gwen Stacy one's also been stitched and lined. For a beginner, this might be a little bit of a challenge, mainly because of the embroidery. For myself personally, I watched a few different tutorials on YouTube and then decided to just wing it and give it a bit of a go for myself. Basically just did some double crochet rows for the beanie, made sure that I did the correct colour combos for each character. So we've got Gwen, Peter Parker and Miles Morales over here as well. The embroidery is definitely the hardest part of it, and also the eyes. A lot of the eyes that I saw in the tutorials were just round, but I wanted mine to be as accurate as possible, so I basically did half rounds rather than a full round, and then stitched around them to keep the colours correct. So essentially a fantastic project. You can knock one of these up in a day, possibly 2 if you're a slow crocheter like myself. You can choose to put the ear flaps and the little tails on there as well, or leave them off and just have just the plain beanie. It's a great way to use up your leftover yarn stash. All you need is, like, I think I used half a ball, not even half a ball of the red, I think it was Marvel 8-ply that I used from Spotlight, just acrylic. And it comes together really well. You can see the colours really pop on these, and the kids really love them. So by all means, get out there and have a crack at these. They're fantastic. There's a lot of different tutorials on YouTube, or try and do what I did. Just have a go at making one yourself, and you might surprise yourself. I hope this video was able to provide you with a little bit of inspiration, from amigurumi to hexie cardigans, bags and beanies. There's so many different options out there. To the content creators who made these tutorials, thank you so much. I will post links down in the description for any of you who are interested to go and check them out. Please do so. They are fantastic and I've learnt so much from all of them. And also, please leave me a comment to let me know what you've been working on. I love to hear what the community are making currently. I'm always interested to hear what the latest new project is, or that new project that you've just finished that you're so proud of. I'd love to hear all about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, guys.